Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Dan Malsh. We're up here in our Atmos room at Soundmine recording studio. I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough of, we're mixing a Bowling for Soup song called Holding On to That Hate. It sounds great in the room fairly easily, but translating to headphones is a bit more difficult. So what I try to do is I try to make a wider version of the stereo mix. I try not to go too crazy on wacky panning. I just try to make a really wide, punchy version and do some select panning here and there. So let me just show you quickly what I'm doing. I have some stems. So for instance, I have a drum stem. If I solo that, play that for a second. Let's actually get to a little more busy part of the song. So what I'm doing is I'm sending out a drum stem into my drum object bus. Right now I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 objects that I could send to. And each object I have panned to different speakers in the room. So right now I'm going to send the drums to my drum object bus. And what I'm using on each bus, each drum object bus, is a plugin called Meld from Metric Halo, Make Believe Studios. It works really well because some of the issue with Atmos is not having a single stereo bus. So how I set this up is to have, in this song, 11 stereo buses. And on each bus, on each object bus, I have Meld. So Meld works really well because you have an EQ, you have a compressor, you have mix head, which is basically their tape saturator, and loudness, which is basically just a loudness knob, and limiter. So by having Meld on every object bus, I can basically have stereo compressor or a compressor on each object bus. So as I turn one thing, like for instance, if I'm on this drum bus, I'm going to take it out of solo for a second, and I adjust the threshold, I'll be adjusting the threshold on all 11 buses. So I'll show you real quick. EQ, if I do an EQ move, I'm doing an EQ move on all the buses. So it works. Meld works really great to have that kind of stereo bus feel, but on all your 11 buses. So yeah, I highly recommend checking out Meld. But I'll show you how I have some stuff panned around. I have the drums in my object bus right in the center, in the left and right, just as I would in a stereo configuration. And then I have a percussion bus, which I'll open this up. So I have the percussion back, kind of not in the middle of the room, but almost in the middle of the room. And then I have bass guitar. I have bass guitar right in the left and right speakers because I want the punch of the drums and the bass to be exactly like the stereo mix. So now here's where it starts to getting more spatial. So the rhythm guitars, instead of having just left and right, I have them on the wides, the wide speakers. So I have a 9.1.6 Atmos system. So I have 9 around the top, around the bottom. I have 6 around the top, and I have 4 subs. But it's really only a 1, but it's a 4 subs are just for room correction. So now if we look at these, the rhythm guitar tracks, that's when you start to use the wides. So now the guitars start to get spread out wider. And then I have another bus, which I have my overdub guitars. And then they're actually more back in the room. They're sort of like 3/4 back into the room. And then I have a lead guitar bus, and that will be, let's see what that lead guitar bus is. Yeah, that's almost 3/4 back too. And we'll go keyboard bus quickly. That's about almost halfway in the room. So you get the point. And then I have like backing vocals all spread different ways. Lead vocals right in the center. I have like stacks that come in where they'll go into some of the height speakers. So you could really get a really nice spatial sound. If you start panning stuff around too much, especially in rock mixes, it starts to just get weird. Like the band still needs to be right in front of you, but then, like I said, just start spreading the guitars out a little wider and just start creating space around you. And you're still able to get that same punch, especially with a plugin like Meld, because said you have a compressor limiter working on all 11 buses. And like I said, especially with panning, I tend to not do too much crazy panning. I will do it in certain sections, like on delay throws, solos, I'll do some weird stuff. If there's like 808 drops, I'll pan stuff around. Anything that seems like an effect, that's what I'll start doing some wild panning on. But I won't start panning a snare drum around, craziness. But yeah, I'll play the track real quick, and you can just see how Meld is working and how the track is working. I'll open up Meld. So you can see, and you see in the where all the routing is, you can see I have all tracks together. And I also have my reference track. You can see how all the Meld is on all these different tracks, all 11 buses. Yeah, so that was just a quick walkthrough of how I set up my Atmos mixes, and I was showing you guys the Meld plugin, which is absolutely awesome. You should definitely check that out if you can. But yeah, that's about it for the Atmos setup. Have a great day, guys. See you soon.